Upgrade anytime at Prairie Mobile, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
I guess first, before you even got to East Hastings, had to hop on a bit of a prop plane. What was that like, the plane ride to Vancouver?
First looking at it, it was pretty scary looking at it. I've never flown on a propeller plane before, but once you get on it, it's actually a lot smoother. I almost prefer flying with that now.
Well, once you get down there, what was your experience like in Vancouver?
It was pretty good. We first went to Odd Squad when we first got there, had a couple of presentations, and those were really good, especially talking to the ex-Hells Angel guy. You could kind of see it in his eyes that he was a bit of a crazy guy. But, once we got on the streets, it was definitely eye-opening. It's a lot of scary things looking at people that lived lives exactly like us. So it's kind of sad and scary looking at their lives that they have now.
Well, talk a little bit about the guy from the ex-Hells Angel. What was his message to you guys?
I think one of his main messages was how bad gangs really are. It's not you live in the high life, and once you're out, you're loaded with money, and you just live a peaceful life, and no one's after you. But truth is, they're pretty nasty. Even after life in a gang, most people don't live very long. You're usually looking over your shoulder the whole time. So I think that was a big message he was showing us.
Well, now the second part is to go into the schools and take the message to younger kids. So what are you going to be delivering to them?
I'll be delivering a lot of information about how just starting off with little drugs, not little drugs, but weed and marijuana, how that opens up all the doors to all the other drugs, and how quickly it can turn into just one or two and then end up living on East Hastings for 30 years of your life.
Well, Ty, an interesting experience for you going through the Project First Goal, going to East Hastings. What was it like?
It was very eye-opening, just to see the way that the people live down on the street there, and with all the rats and all the drugs and stuff. It's very eye-opening, and it's life-changing.
Well, what was something that you were able to take away from that?
Just to make good decisions with everything that you do in life, because one bad decision could lead you down the wrong road.
Well, now the second part after going down to East Hastings is to go into the schools and talk about your experiences and the folks that you met down there, and how important is it to bring that message to the schools?
I think it's very important. There's young guys down on the streets in East Hastings there that really have no purpose being there, and it all comes from one bad decision that they make at a young age, leading them down the wrong road. So it's very important to supply the young with a very good message about staying healthy and staying away from drugs.
Take us through your experience in East Hastings with Project First Goal.
Yeah, it's a really eye-opening experience going down to East Hastings. It's not a suitable living condition for anybody down there, and like I said, it was really eye-opening seeing how people live down there. Drugs is their main purpose and their main goal. That's what they have to do to survive through the day. So it's really tough seeing people live like that, and like I said, it was really eye-opening.
What were some things you were able to learn from the police officers who spend their days down there?
Yeah, like you said, they spend their whole days down there, so they get to know a lot of the people down there, and they're really decent people. They'll sit there and talk to you and tell you, and they don't want to see anybody else end up down there. They don't want to see anyone go into those conditions, so they really help you out and tell you to go back and tell the kids not to show up there.
What's one thing, one of the people you talked to who maybe stuck with you a little more, who maybe you'll continue to remember?
Yeah, there was one guy who actually injected crystal meth into himself right in front of us, and he ended up down there. He was a dirt biker, and he said he had a few injuries and a few falls, and they ended up putting him on Oxycontin for his back pain, and from there it just escalated, and it showed how through those kind of drugs, just for the pain, it took him to East Hastings. So, with sports and stuff like that can always happen. So it's really eye-opening and really just makes you want to stay on a good path.
Perfect, thanks. Well, Coach, you took the guys down to East Hastings. You were part of that Project First Goal experience. What was it like?
Well, it was something out of this world. It was more like third world country than being in Canada. It didn't feel like you were in Canada. It was, poverty-stricken and drugs, and it was just something I've never seen before.
What do you think the guys were able to take from it?
I think there's a strong message there that obviously you don't want to get involved in the drug trade, that's for sure, and to live a clean lifestyle, and obviously they're going to take a message back to the kids here back in the community schools, and try to pump that message out there that there's nothing good they're going to come out of that type of lifestyle, and drugs especially, and even the smaller drugs, that's where it all starts. So you want to make sure that you follow a clean lifestyle and don't get involved in that.
Obviously, it's geared a little more towards the players, and of course they'll be delivering the messages in the schools. But as a coach, as an adult, what were you able to take from it?
Yeah, no, I think I get the same message as the kids do. Obviously, I have kids at home myself. I have a 5- and 6-year-old daughter, and I have a son that's 10 months old. And you talk to my wife here last night. We talk about what I seen in my trip and the experience, and obviously that's something we don't want our kids to ever go through, and the suffering you see in the people's faces and things like that. And they're young kids, like we met some 20-year-old kids and 22-year-old girls that were pretty girls, and obviously got involved in this lifestyle some way or another, whether it was their upbringing. And not every kid or not every story was a bad upbringing. It was a lot of everything. So there was some that had good lifestyles and good upbringings and had good parents, and just went down the wrong road at one time, and it only takes one time, I guess, to get hooked. So it's a good message for me, for my kids, and my experience there to bring back home and push that message not only to friends and family but to my own kids.